Hello, it's Paulus here, the Cabaret Geek, and today I'm talking about cabaret and the fourth wall. So for about a decade or so now, in the UK particularly, it has become widely recognised that what makes a cabaret and not, for example, a concert, is that there is no fourth wall between the audience, that's you, and the performer, that's me. But for us to get our heads around that in any way whatsoever, first we have to understand what the fourth wall is. And most of the time when this gets explained, we use the proscenium arch theatre layout in order to do so. In case you don't know what proscenium arch theatre is, very, very briefly, that's when you go to the theatre, you sit in rows and are head on looking at the stage, and the stage is in some kind of frame, usually a sort of rectangular, maybe even a square frame, very much like the frame of this video. The curtains, of course, open and close, right? So that's your proscenium arch theatre. And if I'm on that stage as the performer, wall 1 is behind me, walls 2 and 3 are on the side, and the fourth wall is this imaginary sort of, I like to think of it as a perforated line between myself and the audience. And it's a perforated line, just like when you get, a little form and there's a check attached and you have to rip it off with the perforated line, because the fourth wall can either be in or out, depending on what form of art you are creating. So some forms of art, if you go and see a play, a Chekhov play, for example, a traditionally performed Chekhov play, the actors will talk to each other, and at no point will any of them look at you directly and ask you a question or say something to you and then give you that wink as if to say, ha, you heard me, because you know that I'm just an actor and I know you're an audience member and you're watching me, and we are acknowledging what is going on here. It's an acknowledgement. It's an acknowledgement that you are in the theatre and this is a piece of theatre. We don't do that with Chekhov traditionally, but there's lots and lots of other places where we do recognise the audience and where the fourth wall is out, or there is no fourth wall. So certain things where there is no fourth wall on stage, pantomimes, you guys get to shout out. Sometimes they're lines we're expecting, sometimes they're lines we're not, we'll still have to deal with it. Stand-up comedy, lots of stand-up comics talk directly to the audience, ask them questions and then bounce ideas off them. You might go and see concerts where that happens as well. It is possible, although it's rarer. Some characters in Shakespeare, it depends who you're playing. Very interesting. Look that up for more details on that. And this, of course, can all happen on screen as well. Very famous recent no fourth wall big and small screen hits would include Deadpool, where, there's an entire scene going on where, the action's happening and the people are talking to each other, and then Deadpool will stop and talk directly to you. Are you already thinking what I'm thinking? Yes, Fleabag. That's exactly what happens in Fleabag as well. And who did it before Fleabag did? Michaela Cole in Chewing Gum, yeah? So that's all no fourth wall. And the fact that we're on a screen, I'm doing it now. I'm talking to you directly, like you could talk back to me. I wish you could, quite honestly. It'd be nice to talk to you. That's my work. That's why I like doing cabaret so much. So here's my wall 1, that's wall 2, that's wall 3, and this is the fourth wall. And what I'm trying my best to do is to break it by being, colloquial and a bit jokey and looking at you directly, even though I don't know where you're looking. So that's the fourth wall. So we have a choice whenever we are on stage or on screen, or whether that fourth wall is in or out. And as I said at the beginning, in cabaret, for the last decade or so, in the UK at least, it has become widely accepted that the fourth wall is out, or there is no fourth wall, which means we talk directly to you. We want you to reply when we ask you a question. If we invite you to sing along, we want you to sing along. It's audience participation, which I know is a very, very scary phrase for a lot of people. Don't sit in the front row when you go to a cabaret if you're not quite sure about audience participation. Just exactly how you might imagine an experience of going to stand-up comedy or pantomime from that point of view. Just, act a bit cautiously in your choice of seat. If you come and see me, I'm going to find you. Don't worry. It doesn't matter how far back in the auditorium you sit. They make sure their microphone has no lead, and I'm off, baby. Anyway, that's the fourth wall. That's cabaret and the fourth wall, and I'm the Cabaret Geek. See you next time, if we're saved.